The Eagles did everything right for a quarter, and not so great for the 3 quarters after that. Ricardo and Andrew joined me in studio. And look, here's the one thing that I found strange. Game 1, they double-teamed Mike Thomas almost the whole game. He only catches 4 passes. Of course, that's the game where Drew Brees threw 4 touchdowns to 4 different guys. This time, they loosened the coverage up on Thomas, and I guess they covered everybody else. You know, they said, we'll let Thomas get his yards, and that did not prove to be a smart move.
No, I think they just were going for a bend, don't break type philosophy.
Yeah.
But look, they don't have anybody who one-on-one could match up with them. And that's what it comes down to. They were outmanned.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, all right, well, let's have Michael Thomas. We'll kind of switch it up from last time, and we're not going to have like a Traquan Smith beat us this time. Michael Thomas is the one who ends up beating you. And I also thought Ted Ginn Jr. was able to get some big plays as well in that passing game. It was a piece that was missing from that first meeting against the Eagles, and it's encouraging moving forward when you get some production outside of Michael Thomas for Drew Brees to find.
Yeah, no doubt. But look, Drew Brees is the master at taking what you're given. And in this game, this is what he was given, right? I mean, Alvin Kamara did some good things, but didn't have a monster game. Mark Ingram either. And the other receivers caught a few balls, but it was all Michael Thomas.
Maybe they were thrown for a loop and thought that the undrafted free agents were all going to score touchdowns again. Like, I'm not really sure. But look, I mean, this is why Michael Thomas, in my opinion, is a top 3 NFL wide receiver. I mean, he can go in and dominate a football game anytime that he wants to. That's what makes him different than other guys.
All right, Ricardo, one thing that Sean Payton said that I thought was really interesting. With a guy like Nick Foles, gets rid of the ball. Andrew did a story this week. 2.5 seconds is his goal. It's going to be hard to sack him. He mentioned pushing the pocket. What the Saints wanted to do was just affect his throws. Just push guys back into him. Let him not be comfortable. And for 3 quarters, Cam Jordan did that a couple of times. David Onyemata and the push in the middle was good. The Saints did a nice job of, even though they didn't get sacks, they affected him, right?
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting Foles off his spot, and they were able to do that. And you try to send blitzes, you try to get pressure on him, but it felt like they weren't trying to necessarily go for sacks because, as you mentioned, he does get the ball out pretty fast. Having that push up front from David Onyemata, especially when you had Sheldon Rankins go down, he was able to provide that push in the middle of the pocket to really get him off his spot, get him uncomfortable. And then Cam Jordan, who shows that he is a Pro Bowl defensive end and how talented he is, makes these plays that won't show up in the stat sheet, but certainly when you break down the film, he was very effective affecting Nick Foles.
Yeah, and then one thing, Andrew, that to me, one of the big takeaways of this game is Marshawn Lattimore clearly had a down second year with the Saints. Wasn't quite as good, part of some of the defensive breakdowns throughout the season. But look, you get to the playoffs, and the one he high-pointed to get that interception, maybe the biggest single play of the season, the way it turned things around. When they needed him, he came up huge today.
He's a lockdown corner, and he held Alshon Jeffrey to just 63 yards receiving, no touchdowns. The biggest play was the 30-yarder that I think came on the Eagles' second touchdown drive. So he can go out there and play with the best of them, and he's playing elite. And I think over the back half of the season, he's starting to get sharper and sharper. I think bringing in someone like Eli Apple helped as well for that entire secondary.
And Apple has made a big difference, if nothing else, helping Lattimore, right?
Yeah, and they're playing more man-to-man. It's one of those where you just had Lattimore, and you needed a second corner to kind of alleviate that pressure on Lattimore of breaking down another receiver, just shutting down another receiver. Eli Apple's capable enough where they can go to more man, and we're seeing more man versus trying to sit back in the zone and let offenses pick you apart. Eli Apple acquisition in the midseason was perfect for the Saints.
Yeah, no question about it. We saw the dividends of it today. Andrew, Ricardo, terrific job as always. We are back to wrap up this playoff edition of 4th Down on 4 in a minute.